Hello, this is Tarina. I was sitting here working on some of my poetries and stuff, looking at the computer, just looking at it and organizing my poetry and stuff. What I do at when I be at the shelter, I be uh, rough drafting some of my stuff first before I put it in official documents or type it out. Um, I've been basically making a lot of poetry, putting it in my shelter room, for my caseworker to read, my case manager to read, and I also been giving it to the one stop. Some of my poetry is adult poetry, some of it adult comedy. Example, the one about the prostitution, you know. Uh, that was comedy, but also it was adult too. I do adult. I do adult poetry. I do adult comedy. So I do God's comedy too for godly people such as myself, spiritual. And I'm not willing to use anybody else to come out with my stuff. I just write it and I pick whoever I want to come out with it. I don't like people hacking my emails. I don't like people hacking my text messages. I don't. It just defeat the point of me coming up with it for my company if people are gonna take from me. You know what I'm saying? I paid 125 at Northwest registered agent for my company to be uh, registered up to date. Okay, and I did that because I needed to work. I needed to find a way to get things out there. So I will be advertising in Tucson, Arizona. I will be sending out my poetries the way that it is, typed out professionally. It's not going to be in no rough drafts because that won't be professional. See, rough drafts is all about brainstorming. If you went into writing class, took a writing class like I did in college and in high school, even in elementary, you learn about rough drafts. That's something you don't want to put out there because you just brainstorming. That's all you do. You just brainstorming and gathering thoughts. But when you get the official document, it is typed out. That's official. That is when you correct all the spellings. That's when you correct the paragraph. You correct the punctuations. You have other people to read it that's over you. They'll be like, okay, you know, before you can type it out, you just have people to just, and when you're typing it out, you have people just look at it and stuff, and they look at it, they say, oh, wow, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Not all people are thieves. Don't get into the habit of thinking that all people are thieves. Some people are negative, some people are not negative. You got some positive people out there that'll be like, okay, we're going to give you our point of view of what we think of this. But so far, it's not a negative point of view. I have not heard anything negative from my mama about my poetries that I've been giving to her. Because that's the first person I give my poetries to is my mother, my family members. Before I even give it to YouTube, before I can release it to YouTube, them the only people that will get it first. Okay? And the reason why is because that's my family. That's my family. I'm conducting business. They know that I'm conducting business. So I'm not selling it because I don't have a license to sell. I don't get on stage because I have to have someone to watch my children. I can't just get on stage like that and my children sitting in the audience. Some type of poetry is not really for children. Some of it, the godly poetry, okay, that's for children. But when you talk about prostitution and all this other stuff, that's not for really children. That was something for me to get back at DCS with in Arizona to tell them that what do you mean I was not caring for my son, Ty J. That was for me to get back at them with. That's what that poetry was about. It wasn't about it wasn't about, oh, I should just throw it out there and say, oh well, prostitution. No, it's not like that. What I was doing, some of that poetry is for me to get back at certain people that was talking mess. My way to get back is answering your question through poetry. Okay, that's my way of getting back. And that's that prostitution poetry is about my lifestyle. That's about what happened in Chicago, Illinois, and why I was doing it. Because one time I was stopped by a police officer. I was. I was. This is before I met him as my boyfriend. He was like, wow, I need to take you and your son in. You know, but I was going to college too at the time. He seen that I was going to college. He was a white guy, and he showed remorse. He said, shoot, why should I put you in prison? Why should I arrest black women for giving pleasure? You know, this is a white man for saying that. I was like, wow, well, thank you. But I also go to college for MA, you know, medical assistant. He was like, good, you know, and he was willing to take me and my son Tajay in. He was a very nice officer, and I really appreciated that. But that's when I got my job working at West Suburban Medical Center after I graduated for medical assistant. And that other type of night stuff was just at night, you know. But I quit that. That was the past. That's what I had to do to provide for my child during that time, because we didn't have a lot of resources in Chicago, Illinois. We didn't have a lot of churches that give out stuff the way Tucson, Arizona does. We didn't have a lot of agencies that give out a lot of free stuff the way Arizona does. Chicago, Illinois is so much different, you know, than Arizona. So I had a reason, I had a motive, I had to do what I had to do, and my mother knew about that. But that's the hustle in life in Chicago. You know, all of us had to hustle some way, somehow. If you had to go out there and drive a cab, that's what you had to do. If you had to uh, work at McDonald's, then that's what you had to do. If you had to do any type of job that could pull you in to make money, that's what you had to do. That's not something you might want to keep, but it's just to get by for now, you know. Just like the streets. The streets was not going to be my job. It was just something for me to get by until I graduated from medical assistant. A lot of people die in the streets doing the things that they do. That that is a risky job to do. Being a street walker is a it's a risky job to do. Being a drug dealer, risky job. Being a gangster, risky job. These are dangerous jobs. You know, being a cop or being a firefighter. Them are dangerous jobs to do because you have to be careful. You know. So I'm just gonna leave it to you. You say whatever you want to say, but I understand. I understand that a lot of people have a different type of opinions. But it is what it is, you know. You do what you gotta do just for that time. But I'm putting my posters up on YouTube, and I got a copy of my own stuff myself, um, for my company. But thank you very much for listening. My name is Tarina Hines. You have a great day.